I've been doing headstands up against concrete walls, shaking hands under waterfalls. Headstands up against concrete walls, shaking hands under waterfalls. In a year from now, will I remain on the same side of the tracks that I fought to us down when I embraced a new life? So where do we begin? I am not special nor unique. If it's not a great uncertainty, is it within? We're an untold riddle by all means. If we can't choose, then it's fine by me. 'Cause I've been doing headstands up against concrete walls, shaking hands under waterfalls. Headstands up against concrete walls, shaking hands under waterfalls. I set myself up for failure without even preparing, like a gift I possess. And so I eggshell trap round the air as if I keep undersharing when I'm under distress. At the end of this hour, I'm trying my best to be more than I am. 'Cause I've been doing headstands, I've been doing headstands, I've been doing headstands, I've been doing headstands. Headstands up against concrete walls, shaking hands under waterfalls. Headstands up against concrete walls, shaking hands under waterfalls. In a year from now, I will spare the moonlight of the wandering words from my mouth as I brace for my new life. So where do we begin? I am not special nor unique. If it's not a great uncertainty, is it within? We're an untold riddle by all means. If we can't choose, then it's fine by me. 'Cause I've been doing headstands up against concrete walls, shaking hands under waterfalls. Headstands up against concrete walls, shaking hands under waterfalls. In a year from now, will I remain on the same side of the tracks that I fought to us down when I embraced a new life? So where do we begin? I am not special nor unique. If it's not a great uncertainty, is it within? We're an untold riddle by all means. If we can't choose, then it's fine by me. 'Cause I've been doing headstands up against concrete walls, shaking hands under waterfalls. Headstands up against concrete walls, shaking hands under waterfalls. I set myself up for failure without even preparing, like a gift I possess. And so I eggshell trap round the air as if I keep undersharing when I'm under distress. At the end of this hour, I'm trying my best to be more than I am. 'Cause I've been doing headstands, I've been doing headstands, I've been doing headstands, I've been doing headstands. Headstands up against concrete walls, shaking hands under waterfalls. Headstands up against concrete walls, shaking hands under waterfalls.
One, two, two. Testing 1, 2. Hello. Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay? 1, 1, 2, 2. I need to check the chat on this. I can hear my laptop, that's for sure. Let me turn that down. Else, can you hear me all right? Hopefully. Amazing. Cool. So for anyone who is tuned in, hello, and thank you for coming on to this stream. And sorry for the last minute stream. I wanted to do this for a while, where I break down how I made Headstands, which has been out for a week now. If you've heard it, then thank you for listening to it. If you haven't, then you're about to hear it on repeat a lot. So brace yourself. But yeah, so essentially Headstands is a song that I made. I think I started the initial idea about 2 years ago. I think it was 2020, end of 2020. Yeah. Yeah, and I initially came up with this guitar loop, this like mesmerizing hypnotic loop, and the plan was to write an entire song around that. And I did exactly that. So I'm going to sort of start from the beginning and retrace my steps now and sort of talk about what my intention was with some of the stuff that's going on in this song. And hopefully this stream holds up and we can do exactly that. So let's jump to Logic. Hopefully you can see Logic okay. And you can probably hear my laptop about to take off. But essentially this is... it's actually also the mix project for Headstands. This is where I put everything together down to the writing. I think this is actually the very first, it's probably a copy of the initial session as well. There are a lot of groups and other things going on here, but yeah, we're going to get into this and break this down. So let's start from the beginning. So really, it starts with this main acoustic guitar loop. Now, the entire, like I said earlier, the entire song was built around this this hypnotic loop, and it went like this. So, what I do nowadays when I'm writing, I tend to layer a bunch of sounds on top of each other and get like a nice loop going. And then the biggest challenge is taking that loop and then turning that into a song. So I think, how did I start? Yeah, so I initially started with, if you can hear this. So I just had that and I laid that down. And that's what you'll hear here in this main acoustic guitar loop. Hopefully it will let me solo that and myself. Bear with me. This might be a pain. Yeah, let's keep that always soloed. Right, so we start with the acoustic guitar loop, which sounds like this. So hopefully you can hear that okay. And that's just a few guitars layered on top of each other. So as you can see, it's quite a lot of guitars. But yeah, so that is the foundation of a lot of what this song is. So that loop runs through most of the song, as you can see. And then from there, I started laying stuff on top of it. So let me just... Can you hear that music okay when I play that, by the way? I know it might be quite quiet, but I need to be able to talk over it too. So let me know if you can hear that else. And it just loops. Hypnotic and beautiful. But yeah, so really, the song, this initial sound that you hear here was kind of what drove the song, both lyrically and in every other sense of the song. The song itself is about, I imagined it as a, almost as like a therapy session between myself and the moon. And it's kind of like, you know, in a year from now, like what I'm trying to get at, or what I'm trying to achieve with doing therapy or with this conversation. And it's like when you get to the chorus, the pre-chorus is kind of like the question that the moon is asking. So it's like, where do we begin? Like, take me to the beginning of all of this. And then the premise of the whole song is that, you know, I'm doing headstands. It's kind of like the question of, are you okay? And it's kind of like, well, you know, I can't say okay, but I can say something else. And, you know, I like the analogy of, or the imagery of being in a headstand and kind of being like this rush. And, you know, a headstand can be considered fun. I found it fun trying to learn to do one, which I still to this day can't do properly. Luke can do it better than me, who's in the headstands video. And, but yeah, so I like the idea of this, this kind of, I don't know, just like this rush and the ups and downs of that. And it's kind of like, you're okay, but you're not. And in all of that, you package it up into like this upbeat poppy thing. And I kind of got kung fu fighting vibes from it, which I'll go on to later. But yeah, so initially that loop steered a lot of what this song would go on to be. So it starts with that. So we have this loop. And from here, I mean, this is me opening this up as well. So obviously, as I go along this, I'm going to figure out what I actually put in this, because obviously I haven't touched this for a while. My favorite thing to do is to add the noise of wind and birds, which you can probably hear here now. So if I mute the guitars now, you can probably hear them very, very faintly. I might have to turn everything up. That might help. Let me do something. Hold on. Bear with me. Let's do this. Let's go and turn this up. But then we'll turn me down. Hopefully that should make the music a bit louder now. So hopefully you can still hear that. Is that better? Just checking the chat. Okay, we'll roll with that. So anyway, we have the main guitar loop. We'll come back to the vocals, but really the wind, and that was what I was talking about next. It was the wind. So behind the guitars, I have wind and atmosphere to kind of add to this, you know, this place. I'm trying to put it in, trying to sort of create imagery with it, you know, and actually put this song in a location. Because very early, and this wind came into the song later. I think after I'd actually decided I want to go down the kung fu fighting route with the song. Because I don't know if anyone else gets this vibe, but to me, when I hear this song, when it gets to the chorus, I do get that, you know, like kung fu fighting. Like, everybody is kung fu fighting. Like, that guitar part was kind of what I was going for with that main melody. So, yeah, this this sort of helps put the song in a place, or it does to me anyway. But yeah, so we've got the guitars, we've got the wind, and then on top of that, I've got these synths, which are just doing this. So you'll hear them in the background. And that really is a lot of the verse. So the synth just adds to that. And you've got the wind. And voila. I don't know what this is actually. What have I got here? Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. So I remember when I was putting this song together, I had this thing here. I had the main synth lead, and it wasn't sticking out enough to me. So this one here. Yeah, so that, because of where it is in the register, wasn't sitting enough to me. But I found that when I actually brought the vocal into the song, by this point, this was not, well, it was sitting fine, but in the intro, I kind of wanted to have that synth come in and you hear it quite prominently. So I added a higher octave, which is what you're hearing here. So that's that, like that. And I was kind of going for like this 80s twangy sound. So let's move on. So we've got the wind, we've got the guitars and the funny synths. But let's call them the airy synths. Of course, we've got the vocals here, which is just like a double track thing I've got going on here. And then the pre-chorus is here. So this is obviously where in the actual song, the energy builds a bit. So what better to build the energy with some subby kicks? So it comes in, where do we begin? So then you start getting the kicks and the energy starts building. And actually, I'm remembering now I'm going through this, before I bring these kicks in, when I was writing the song, these mellotrons here, and was it the mellotrons? It was just the mellotron. So I had the mellotrons doing this melody, which is this. So you'll hear this over the guitar. Yeah, so that was a lot of the loop that I had. And I think I actually had the kicks in there as well. But at the same time, you've got this. Oh, no, these came after. So from here, we're doing this. We're going. So this is the pre-chorus. The energy's building now. And obviously over here, we would have had the vocals at this point, wherever they are. I've just got muted. Now, because of that space there that you hear in between the vocal, so in the after where do we begin, for me, I wanted to, I'm quite a big fan of when I'm producing things, I want to fill every gap possible. So, which often results in lots of layers, as you're gonna 214 layers in this session. So we'll soon learn about this. But yeah, so the song itself, we've got it here. It's playing, and this gap here I needed to fill in the vocal. So we had that there. So to fill that, what I ended up doing was adding some pianos and some extra synths, I believe. Oh, they're in a single group. Let's just play the group. So you've got the pianos. Oh, they're not even there. Where are they? I thought they were there. Is it here? Oh, here's the bass. The bass comes in here as well. So from this point, what is actually happening? Take the vocal out. What's actually happening is that we're jumping in, and I wanted to obviously build the energy. We've not got bass by this point. We're just going with acoustic guitars. I was kind of going for the Bon Iver sort of thing. So we got this. So the mellotrons, bass, kicks, they all come in. And you can see how the bass kind of lifts the entire thing here. And yeah, so going back to the gaps in the vocal that I was trying to fill, which would be here. So it would go. So that's where So those synths there are what are breaking up those gaps for me in the vocal. Because then you've got the vocals carrying on here, and if I bring the vocal back in. So, yeah, vocals here, synth. It's kind of like a call and response kind of thing, which again, you know, having this song as a therapy session, that felt like the right thing to do, like a call and response type thing, because, you know, it's a conversation at the end of the day. This is meant to be a conversation between yourself and the moon. This is some percussive thing I think I added below it. Yeah, so this is actually the entire pre-chorus. You can see it's actually quite, although I said there's a lot of layers, it is quite simple. If I take the vocal out, so you can hear it's just that. Let's have a look what else we've got. Oh yeah, so let's go back to these percussion things. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought because I'm getting lost in the production myself, because it's obviously been a while since I've dived into this session. But let's have a look. I'm taking the guitars out. Let me take the mellotrons out and the synths. Oh yeah, there we go. Right. So this, I don't know what this loop is. It sounds like someone doing beatboxing. Can you hear that? Sounds like weird, strange beatboxing. But yeah, so again, the reason I added that in was because I think my intention was to add hi-hats, but it felt too expected, you know? Like at this point in the song, you've got the kick, you've got the bass, it's all coming in, and obviously the energy's lifting, but I didn't want to go in with the hi-hats yet because I knew that I wanted to have this hip-hoppy kind of drum swing on the chorus. So to actually get that and to actually accentuate that, I wanted to make sure I wasn't going too much into the high end, because I wanted to save all the high end and all the glam for the glam. What's the word I'm looking for? The sort of like the sparkle, let's say. I wanted to save all the sparkle for the chorus, so I made the intention of not putting those hi-hats in the pre-chorus. So we get to here. We're definitely missing stuff. Acoustics. So yeah, pre-chorus is going. Right, okay, so you can see, so when we get to the chorus here, we actually, and this, so we actually drop the main acoustic guitar loop here. I think I did that quite late on because the chorus was, it was just getting messy because I got way too carried away with everything, in typical Joe Tyrone fashion. But let's start this with the drums, because the drums build a lot of what this chorus becomes. So let's come back in with, yeah, these. So this is the drum bus I've got here. As you can see, there's quite a lot going on. But this is essentially, what have we got in here? We've got kicks, we got snares, bongos, hi-hats. So yeah, so I went a bit all out. Oh, and my favourite vocal chop thing, which I will show you in a moment, or you'll hear it now. So these are the chorus drums, which obviously the actual rhythm of the song, because at this point we're getting a 4 to the floor and we're kind of getting this rhythm that's going like this. But for me, I then wanted to pull it back, I guess in a headstand kind of fashion, flip the song. So the chorus kind of acts like a beat switch, because tempo wise you end up going to this instead. Let me take the mellotrons out and then you'll see what. Yeah, so yeah, this is the drum. And I think I actually modeled this drum kit on, I think I listened to a Drake song. I think it was, I can't remember, one of his clubby songs. And I just remember when I was trying to figure out the drum pattern for this, I remember thinking that I don't know why this Drake song came into mind. And I was like, yes, that's the sound I want. So we got this Drakey kind of drum thing. Let me take these out. Yeah. And we got my favorite thing here, which was the vocal here that's going hurt, which is me just going hurt. Coming up here. So because I was going for the kung fu fighting thing, let's dive into the kung fu fighting thing just so that makes more sense. So I believe, so here's the main guitars in the chorus. So obviously we get a lot more rhythmic in the chorus. So it's built off of this now. Instead of that main loop, we're going into chords and we're building it off of this. So that sounds like my beautiful 12-string guitar that I love to put on everything, along with a guitar doing the main melody. But then this is where the magic happens, and it was this, I believe. No, this is the bass, isn't it? I mean, the bass is cool. I'll play the bass. Don't know if you can hear the bass there, but I played the bass on this. Actually, I played the bass along with my friend George, who also contributed to this song. He contributed some synths, and he did originally play a bass line before I had the chorus mapped out, and I ended up changing it. But I did keep this one slide. So this little slide thing you hear here. Me. So that little bass slide you hear there is something George did, but then I merged it with the bass line that I was playing, which was this. I'm trying to find the main guitars. Where are they? Right, so here's... Okay, yeah, so here are the acoustic guitars that are doing the rhythm for the song. And they just obviously accompany the drums. And then you've got the main acoustic guitars. So I've got an extra rhythm where the 12 strings are kind of adding like a bed of brightness. That's like my go-to trick for a lot of songs. If you want to add brightness or generally just lift the chorus, just if you've got a 12 string lying around, just play the root note of the root chord of the song and just do some droning behind it, because you'll get that high end just in the background. Here is what I wanted to show you. So we've obviously got this. So that's like the obviously main melody. Headstands up against concrete walls. And then I added this, and this is what changed everything for me. So going back when I was first writing the song and I had the melody for the chorus, I had the chorus melody. But as soon as I added this high electric guitar here, this was when I was like, this sounds like kung fu fighting to me. And that's when I started leaning into that and adding like the hurt vocals and stuff like that. So this now is what formed the bed of the chorus here. So you kind of get that high end. Yeah, so that is, yeah, I mean, that's a lot of the important stuff in the chorus. Behind that, we've obviously got pianos as well doing similar stuff. If I mute that. Yeah, so I played the pianos there, which are doing the same, just some chords. They're quite buried in the song, but they're there, they're doing something. So they're there. What else we've got here? Oh, that didn't end up in the chorus. This is my favorite trick, which is adding explosions or huge cinematic crashes like this. It's mainly just a big cymbal crash. What else have we got here? The mellotrons are obviously in here as well. What are these? Oh wow, they're doing the See, I didn't even know they were in there. These sound like they're just some strings that I've warped and done something to. And they are just following the vocal melody. Very nice. Yeah, so let's unmute everything for a moment. And then, yeah, so chorus sounds like this.
Me, 'cause I've been doing headstands up against concrete walls, shaking hands under waterfalls. Headstands up against hands under waterfalls. Headstands up against concrete walls, shaking hands under waterfalls.
Yeah, so here, what have we got going on? I mean, most of what I went through here. Vocal-wise, I think I just went down the route of... basically just throw everything at it and the kitchen sink. So I've obviously just done loads of layers of me just singing the same thing. It's kind of like gang vocally kind of, but just reinforcing. So these are the main vocals.
'Cause I've been doing headstands up against concrete walls, shaking hands under waterfalls. Headstands up against concrete walls, shaking hands under waterfalls.
I remember I wanted to make them quite percussive as well, like the because I wanted to kind of accentuate the attack when you come into that chorus. Obviously, that is helped by the fact that you've got the crashes and stuff, but the vocal itself needed to cut through, especially when there's that much music going on. So the performance itself had to be like, well, this was more of a mixing thing. I had to kind of keep to fast ratios on my compressions and fast attack, high ratios and fast and attack and release times to just sort of accentuate those transients in the vocals. So just to give that more context.
I've been doing headstands up against concrete walls, shaking hands under waterfalls. Headstands up against concrete walls.
Yeah, so you can hear there that we've got the vocals and where am I going to here? Yeah, so my main guitars that I love. These were kind of this is like the main foundation of what this chorus is here. So
been doing headstands up against concrete walls, shaking hands under waterfalls. Headstands up against
obviously without all the drums and all the other stuff. This transition here, if I remember right.
Shaking hands under waterfalls.
Yeah, so this took me ages to figure out. To figure out how to get into verse 2 was a nightmare. But then one day I was playing around with the bongos, which feels like a weird sentence to say. I was just randomly playing the bongos. But then I did this. And then that kind of helped me go, yes. Because originally I was going to jump straight into shaking hands in the waterfalls in a year. But yeah, I had to obviously give the gap so that I could get into that verse in time. So the bongos helped me do that.
Hands under waterfalls in a year.
And then we have a beautiful moment with all the vocals coming in. So we're in verse 2 now, just to, we're moving on to verse 2. So verse 2, we are here.
Year from now.
More harmonies and stuff come in here. And actually, what's interesting about this second verse is that the instrumentation is actually completely different to the first verse. And I did that because I kind of wanted to... I originally I was writing to a loop, as I mentioned, and it got to a point where the song was just too repetitive. You know, the chorus in itself is like a repetitive chant, but when I got to that second verse, that instrumental was just too much. So I ended up stripping it back, and it obviously helped. I ended up bringing in just claps and changing the percussion. So we've got this, and it's just me clapping. Yep, it's just me clapping. I had mandolins. I played some mandolins here. And again, they're kind of doing a similar thing to what the 12 strings were doing in the chorus. They're kind of providing like this, this drony kind of I don't know, backbone to this part of the verse. And then we got electric guitars. Which just run it. And I think this synth is here. Oh no, the synth is not here. What's this? Oh yeah, so these are what George did. So George is, I like to call him the synth wizard because he has access to loads of beautiful analog synths and is kind enough to record them on my songs. This is something of George's that I ended up keeping in the song, which was just these little twangy things here. I'm not sure what they are. If George is in the chat, hopefully he can confirm, but it's just some kind of 80s synth. But then that obviously comes in with these. Do we have these? These aren't here yet. The wind is back in as well at this point. What's this? Oh, I forgot that was there. Yeah, so there's there's a nice little electric guitar there in the background. And that's obviously filling the gap after In a Year From Now. So we go here.
In a year
Guitar comes in here.
from now,
Just to give your ear something to listen to in that little gap. Quite small of a gap, so I didn't really need to do that, but I've done it now. And now we are in, and that's a lot of this second verse, to be honest. We got the old reverse cymbal here to kind of, where do we begin? And it comes in there. So here, I think a lot of the main instrumental from the first verse comes back here. I feel like it's the only part of the song that is actually the same. There might be some chords are coming in by the looks of it and some arps. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. Yeah, so that's what's new here. So this is a lot of what we had on the first pre-chorus. But what we've got this time is the mandolins are carrying on because they're droning, so they can just sit in the background and create that air. That was a lot of the intention here, was to sort of make it this airy moment to breathe, because obviously the chorus is quite intense and, quite fast paced. So getting into this second verse, it was nice to just slow it down, and the mandolins help with that. That's why they're drenched in reverb as well, I think. Yeah, look, so they're going to this reverb bus here. Yeah, so that's that. Main guitars are back here as well, you'll notice. We've got shakers here. I think they ended up in the song. Yeah, and these little RP, that was like another thing that sort of, again, lifts. This is the thing when it comes to making songs like this, is that the pace has been picked up in that first chorus when the 4 to the floor comes in, and it's like, where do we begin? But obviously, how do you do that in the second verse, and sort of how do you do that in a second pre-chorus and make it feel like it's getting bigger without getting too big that the chorus is going to struggle to sit after that, if that makes sense? So for me, what I tend to do is lean into as well as the art, but I guess the percussive opportunities in this song were what allowed me to lift this as we go from section to section. So here, what we're doing is bringing in arps. So melodically, nothing much is happening that's different, because the pre-chorus is exactly the same as the first one, but instrumentally, we're just bringing in a bit more percussion. So we're bringing in some shakers, and we're bringing in some arps as well, which you hear there. Which are doing this. Oh, and there's guitars here as well. I can't remember what these are doing. Oh yeah, they're here. And again, the guitars only act as a gap for the vocals. So if I bring the vocals back in, you're going to hear that these are merely just little. So you see these little gaps here? These gaps are what those guitars are intending to fill. So I'll just play that through.
So where do we begin?
Yeah, so they're kind of just filling the gap. keeping things interesting, keeping your, because we've obviously heard this already. We've heard this pre-chorus, so the more new stuff, the better. But not too many new stuff, because too many new stuff, and then we might struggle to make this chorus sit. So going into this second chorus, as you can see instrumentally, it's pretty much the same, minus what we got? Mellotrons. Oh, the string. So the high string, again, kind of like similarly to the 12 strings that are like droning in the background. That's what this string is doing here in the chorus. So
I've been doing headstands up against concrete.
So you don't actually hear much of a difference, but you feel it. Because if I mute this now,
I've been doing headstands up against concrete walls.
That to me feels like a first chorus. Whereas when you add this high string in, which is only doing this, it's only doing that in the background. So you just add that below it and it immediately lifts this entire section. You can feel that something's different, but you can't tell what. And because this chorus is already so busy, there isn't really time, or there isn't really space for me to add much more instrumentally. So, for me, I'm a big fan of, there's always got to be something different happening. But once you've got the chorus way too busy, how do you do that? So this is one of those little tricks that I just did and added that. So you'll hear it here now.
I've been doing headstands up against concrete.
So that's with the string, without the string. With the string. Hopefully you can hear this, and I'm not just a psycho who can hear all these things. It's all imaginary. It's all in my head. Another thing that I've actually forgotten to mention here, which spoke about lifting the chorus. Another thing, I can't remember where I stole this trick from, but the trick is you add a crowd, the sound of a crowd in the chorus, and you just bury it in there. So this is the sound of the crowd. This is all happening under every chorus. It's just people talking. But I put that in and buried that in the chorus. So, and you can't really hear it. But again, I think you can feel it. So, yeah, if you need to lift your choruses, add crowds in the background. I have a first-time viewer. Oh, what goes into the making of the song? Oh, thank you very much. I'm glad. Yeah, it's just insane, isn't it? There's we hear songs and they are kind of like 2 to 3 minute audio files, and then you realize that actually just to get to that one audio file, we have to put together all of these 214 different layers. And yeah, and in the end, you guys listen to it as a as a single audio file. But yeah. So I'm going to move on to the next part of the chorus, which is here.
It's concrete walls, shaking hands on the waterfalls.
Oh, this might be fun. I've just remembered something that was in the original version of this song. They're here, right. So another thing that George did to this song, which was great. Sorry, I should go back. Gia, welcome to the chat. And welcome to the stream, and thank you for tuning in. But yeah, sorry, going on, I'm jumping back and forth here. So Dragon Force guitars. These are very appropriately named, and I'll tell you why. They're not in the song, actually. I used a part of them here, but I had George. George is a fantastic guitarist, and I originally, before I had a middle for the song, I said to him, can you do something to this song and help me steer the direction of where this song's going to go? So what I ended up doing was getting him to play some guitars. I didn't tell him what to play. I just said, just do something crazy. And boy, did he go crazy. So check this out. I'm just going to solo this and myself. So where are they? They're here. So he ended up doing this, which I didn't use in the song because it's just a bit too crazy. I used a part of it though, but this to me sounds like, just have a listen. It's crazy. If you've ever, has anyone ever played Guitar Hero? Because if you have, there is a song on there by Dragon Force, and I think it's meant to be one of the hardest songs in the game to play. And I think that's why I called this Dragon Force Guitars, because that was just insane to me that he was doing that. And I tried my best to get this into the song because I was like, this has got to work somehow. Unfortunately, it actually only ended up being used as a transition. But, you know, without it, we wouldn't have this transition. So, and this is the transition. So they're quite quiet, but they're kind of swooping in here. So, and then they cut. So then they act as a transition to that second pre-chorus here. So building and stop. Oh yeah, there's also some kind of explosion here. Impact. Yeah, so that brings us into the pre-chorus. Second chorus. So we've had the start. And originally I went straight from the chorus into what then became the middle. But it felt like it needed a drop or something. But I felt like the chorus itself felt like a drop. So this was kind of like a reverse engineering kind of thing. So what I said earlier about continuously adding layers to kind of lift each section, well, in this case, it was actually the opposite, and I was taking things out. And what I ended up doing was adding a lead guitar that I played, so which is just doing this. I'm actually going to solo them because I think what I ended up doing, this isn't a very natural good way to play this part because it's and I did this like guitar transition into this. So I reversed the note of the guitar. So what's interesting here is that the guitar itself, hi Dusty, by the way, thank you for joining the chat as well. Yeah, Dusty's had the pleasure of working with George as well, so he gets the case of the Dragon Force. I don't know. Tell me, Dusty, has he ever put guitars that crazy on your stuff? And if so, have you managed to use it? Because yeah, on my stuff I couldn't find a place for it, but who knows? One day I might get one of these crazy sounds in here. But yeah, so this reverse transition here is just to answer Leanne's question, what's your favorite random sound you used or transition? I think I'm actually on it now. My favorite transition is reversing things. So just taking the first note of something and reversing it, because what you're hearing here, let me unsolo these. Oh. So that is what you're hearing here is the first note of this guitar solo part that I did here. So that guitar there, that is actually the first note just stretched and then reversed to create that transition. So those are the kind of things I like to use as transitions. But yeah, so essentially that led, and it made this part transition smoothly. So to go into that solo. Yeah, the guitar here, going back to this is quite an unnatural way to play guitar. So when I played this, what I did, I played the part in, and then I got halfway. First I thought it was going to be like a dedicated guitar solo section, which I've done an awful lot on this album. So I was kind of apprehensive about doing that too much. But when I did it on this, I was like, what can I do here? Because it's quite a stagnant beat. Although it's got like this swing to it in the chorus, the song is quite stagnant. So to add like a really laid back guitar, I felt like it was going to contrast with the vibe of what we had going on too much. So, and obviously the guitar, the vocals in the chorus themselves are, you know, it's very stagnant, like headstands up against concrete walls. Dun, dun, bum, so to do something more laid back, I wasn't ready to do that while we're in that same rhythm of the chorus, because obviously we're in the second half of the chorus now. We've still got the majority of the chorus instrumental happening here. So how do I keep up with that? And to play something this quick felt unnatural. But what I ended up doing was sampling the guitar, well, kind of making it sound like it was sampled. So I obviously played this in parts and merged it together. But you'll hear it now that it sounds quite, so I think it's here. So there though, yeah, that is just the same thing chopped up and placed in the same place. I agree, Dusty. The sections George adds are great. He's good. He's a good guy. He's actually done quite a lot on this album. We originally started, I think it was during the pandemic, we started Justin. George was kind enough to help me with the foundations of a lot of songs for this album. We've made like, I want to say like 2 albums worth of material, maybe more. Luckily he has the patience to put up with my fast moving mind where I'm like, oh no, I don't want to use this one anymore. Like, he's so cool. And it's just like, yep, no worries. Like, I've done the song. Like, it's down to you now, Joe. So I'm very grateful to George that he is, he's so willing and so understanding of the way that I want to work, because I very much have like like the last one standing survives. So I make loads of songs, and whatever song is in the running as one that I love, that kind of takes priority. And then, I might love another song, but if another song comes along that is much better than that, I kind of have like in my mind, there's like a hierarchy of, I want to make like an album of 10 songs, but there's like a hierarchy of how many I want to put on an album. So, I kind of get to like that. If that song isn't in that top 10, I get quite, quite destructive about it. And I'm very quick to say, right, well, I'm not going to work on this song anymore. I say quick, I take my time with it, but I'm not afraid to, in order to get the best album. For me, sometimes I've found that I do need to kill my babies, I guess. And I say kill, they don't always end up, Strong, for example, was a song that was originally on the cutting room floor. Like, I wrote the chorus to it and I didn't touch it again for another 2 years. And then I came back to it. So I believe every song has a chance. I never give up on a song, but I do give up on a song when it's not suiting the vibe of what I'm doing in that moment, if that makes sense. So if I'm doing like my album now and there's a song that I don't feel is as strong or isn't fitting the vibe quite as well, I'm not afraid to just stick it back on my hard drive and say, in my head, I'm like, I will come back to this. And in reality, I know I might not, or I might, but never say never, especially when it comes to, like Strong was a perfect example. I was so willing to get rid of that. And then one day I was writing the, what ended up being the verses, and accidentally transitioned into the chorus. And then, and now Mike Shinoda went on to produce it. So, I don't trust my opinion that much. I just trust my instincts in the moment, but I don't trust them to be as destructive as, writing a song off completely. Yeah. Sorry, a lot of words there. Dusty, do I feel like the love I have for each song fades after time goes on? Ooh. When it comes to songs I'm working on, yes, I think. When it comes to songs I'm working on, definitely. But if I'm still listening to them after a certain amount of time, say for example, like right now, I'm working on my album. I think I've got about 9 songs now. And I've chopped and changed this running order so many times. There's been other songs on it. Songs have been cut, songs have been added, and there are songs on there even now that I listen to, and I'm kind of putting. I need to finish them. I need to mix them. Like they're finished and they're ready to be mixed. But I'm sure it, Dusty, that when you're doing everything yourself, it's kind of hard to commit to producing, writing, mixing, and X, Y, and Z. you kind of have to be in the right mind state for each one. That being said, when I get to a stage where I'm ready to mix songs, I find that I sit them in a folder or on SoundCloud. And then if I find myself still going back to them after months, just listening to them because I want to hear them, that's when I know they're the ones that are worth keeping. And I might be sick of them because, to be honest, a few songs on this album, in particular, Headstands was one, and until I released it. Like, now I've released it, I feel a whole new love for it. But before it was released, I was so sick of it. Like, leading up to mixing it, and while I was going through the mixing stage, I was tired of it. I was like, oh, but I knew that because I kept listening back to it, I knew that it had to be finished. But I found that listening to it so much was a sign that it deserved to be finished, if that makes sense. So yeah, that was a long way of saying, to answer your question, my love for songs does fade. But I find that when they're released, the pressure of that disappears. Like, I think while you've got songs in the working and you know that you can chop and change them, I think it's very easy to to kind of, it feels like work, doesn't it? So you put it off and you put it off because you're tired of it. You're tired of listening to it. But when you get to the point where the song is actually finished, that pressure disappears, I think. Because now, like, Strong, I mean, thankfully that was taken out of my hands by Mike. But Headstands was very much like I had to push to get this finished. And that was hard because I was tired of the song. But once the song was mastered, I have a guy called Francis who masters all of my stuff. And by the time I got the master back, I was like, well, I don't need to worry about this anymore because I can't change it, really, unless I want to pay to get it mastered again, which I don't recommend doing. so from the point that the song's mastered, that pressure sort of disappears. Gia, to answer your question, should we expect more singles leading up to the album, or I'm just holding out for the full release? Yes, I'm going to put out more singles. To be honest, I'm probably going to put out everything as a single, mainly because of the way that the musical climate is going. I think that, unfortunately, I'm a big album guy. Like, I still listen to albums, but I am doubtful of how effective an album is in this day and age of music streaming. So for me, I think that, or I think for artists in general, like, guys like me and Dusty, or, George as well. Like, if we are making music and we want to make albums, like, there should be nothing stopping us from making an album, because at the moment I'm inspired to make a body of work. I don't just want to make a single. However, the release model is what kind of comes into play here, because I want to make sure every song gets a chance to have its moment. So I will release every song as a single, although they will end up on the album together when it releases. I just want every song to have a chance to, a moment, to have its own moment, I guess, because it's very easy. Like, I know that I'm at a place where, I haven't got a huge following. Like, I've got people who I'm so grateful for who listen to my music, but how many of them listen to full albums, I'm not sure. But I do know that for the people I'm trying to attract, to try and sort of go to them, here's a whole album, listen to it. I think that's a lot to expect of a listener in this day and age. So my tactic is usually to, drip feed, I suppose. I'm drip feeding it. Although there is an album and these songs belong together and they belong to being, well, they deserve to be listened to together. I'm never going to be mad at people just picking one to listen to. And, if they don't listen to the whole album, that's fine. But at least if I'm releasing them as singles, they have that opportunity to do that. And then the people who do care about albums, like myself, you can dive into the album afterwards, or you can not listen to any of the singles and dive into the albums and experience it as an entire album, if that makes sense. Yeah, I hope that answers the question. Thank you for the questions, though, guys. I appreciate it, because yeah, I don't stream often, so I'm trying to pick this up a bit more though. I do want to stream more, but yeah, you know, finishing music at the same time is hard. But I'm gonna try and start doing streams where I'm working on songs. So I might actually, you know, subconsciously just leak some of my album because I'm just going to be working on it on the live stream, you know, whether I'm doing a mix or whether I'm doing a producing or writing. So I kind of want to turn my Twitch channel into that. So this is me kind of trying to make the transition into being a full-time Twitcher, streamer. Streamer? Do you call him a streamer? Twitch streamer? I don't know. A Twitcher. Yeah. Cool. Let's go back to the middle. We're on the middle. Middle, what have we got? So we go from the chorus, and from here we have, what do we have? Oh, I had this weird, I recommend any music makers who are on the chat, go on to, I'll have to look at what it's called. It's a Google tool, and it's an AI tool, and essentially you can drag in sounds and convert them into other sounds. So I think what I originally did with this little section here was I had a guitar doing this part. And again, I just had a guitar solo or a guitar sampled solo, and I didn't want to, you know, I didn't want more guitar here. So I kind of wanted to figure out something else. So I ended up running the guitar through this Google AI website. I can't remember what it was called. That's going to bug me. But yeah, I'll if you search Google Sound AI, I'm sure you'll find it. But you can change sounds into other sounds. And this is actually a guitar turned into a flute. So I'll play it now here. Sounds so weird. Actually, it might have been a synth that I turned into a flute. So you've got that. So that makes this bed here. I had these called taiko drums here to sort of change the rhythm changes again. Again, going with like this tribal kung fu, maybe. I don't know. The wind's back. Baritone ukuleles are in the background. Oh, they're actually just doing this. So that's what we've got for the, and that's a lot of the middle. Also, have I got ukulele percussion? Okay, so I played some percussion on the ukulele here by the looks of it. Oh, and I added an eagle. I don't know why I added an eagle. Added an eagle. Eagle helps transition this part. Oh yeah, the 12 strings from the chorus are here. And they obviously come in where the vocal comes in. So this is our middle here. And the vocals are here too. I can't not talk about this part. So again, to fill gaps in vocals. So obviously that's the vocal there for the middle. The way that I wanted to transition here was actually with vocals. And what I ended up doing was getting my friend Justin, who very kindly dedicated some vocals to this. And he did some cool stuff in the background. So he did this. Thank you, Justin. There's a guy called Justin the Flora God. Go listen to him. He's great. He's just released an EP called Good Grief. But yeah, he did. This is kind of like a signature sound of Justin's. It's kind of like distorted synths. Distorted vocals and lots of reverb. So I said to him, Justin, can you do a Justin the Flora God moment here? And he did exactly that. So you have the music, and then Justin comes in here, which is cool. So he acts as the gap. Oh, what are these? This is more George stuff. Again, more 80s synth. So I'll pull this up a little bit just so you can hear it. That. It's some kind of synth. I'm not sure what it is. One of George's wizardries. Tone transfer. Yes, thank you, Leanne. That's the one. Yes. Tone transfer is the Google AI that I used to convert the synth or whatever that was into the whatever I made it into. What did I make it into? Horns? Strings? Why have I forgotten? Flute. Yeah, so that's a flute, but it was a synth, and I used a website called Tone Transfer. So look up Tone Transfer, Google AI, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, you know, even for people who don't make music, if you want to turn your voice into something random, record a voice note or go onto their website, and you can record your voice and upload it onto there, and it's fun. So we have this. We have this. Guitars? What do these guitars do? Oh yeah, these are weird. Oh yeah, so this was cool. So let me mute everything for a moment. These guitars come in, and like I said earlier, I didn't want I didn't want too much going on guitar wise, but I'd recorded this really nice guitar part. I wonder if I can take the plugins off here without crashing my laptop. Can I not crash my laptop? So this was the sound before I messed with it. Can you hear it? Sorry, let me move that out of the way. Right, so yeah, so the guitar was here doing this. And by this point, we had so many guitars, so I didn't want more guitars. So I was like, what can I do with this? I really like this part, but I want it to be something else. So I ended up doing this. Running it through Echo Boy by the looks of it. Yeah, there we go. So you can still hear that it's a guitar, but I kind of did some weird stuff with Echo Boy here. Oh, it looks like I just put a preset on and probably tweaked it a little bit. And just made it into this. And that kind of just sits behind everything that you've got here, which bringing it back. Bringing it back. Percussion. Acoustic guitar. What's this? Oh, it's a piano. Just going. Yeah, so I was originally going to try and write a piano middle off of those pianos that you hear there, which are doing this. Don't know if you can hear them. Yeah, that. You hear that? That piano, although I just distorted it loads, that was meant to be what I wrote this original middle around. And I was really struggling with this middle because obviously I had these Dragon Force guitars by George that we played earlier, and I didn't really know where to go from there. So what I ended up doing was trying a piano thing that didn't work. And then I eventually started playing around with the ukulele and the taika drums. I think when I found the taika drums, that kind of steered the direction for this middle. I knew it was going to be a bit more like, you know, more tribal. Sounds tribal to me anyway. Yeah, so we have this. Now, I didn't just want to, I was like, how am I going to get back to the chorus? Because we obviously got this different rhythm now. And to suddenly go, headstands up against concrete walls, wasn't going to work. So I wanted to do like this slowed down. I'm sure I was inspired by something. I can't remember what, but I reached out to my friend Sid. I tried doing it myself. I'm not a great keys player. So I tried doing it myself, but it didn't work. So I reached out to my friend Sid and I said, can you do me some piano? And he came up with this beautiful part here, which I've actually chopped and done a lot with, because he originally sent me, let's solo this for a moment. He sent me loads of piano. Oh, let's get rid of whatever that is. Right, so he sent me all of this. So you can see and this was actually, so this you're hearing here was actually, that was him sending me it just as an idea, because I'd messaged him and I was like, can you try and do me something, and then we'll meet up at some point and we'll record it properly. So he sent me this this video. As you can see, it's titled image.445.9. It was literally just a video of him playing the piano. And he was, and I think at the start of it, he said something like, oh, how about something like this? And then he played exactly this. And he sent me like about 2 minutes worth of piano. And I was like, yeah, that's great. That's great. Let's meet up and then we can figure this out together and we'll get this in the song. But we couldn't meet up, schedules. He obviously works full time. I work full time. So we couldn't figure it out. So what I ended up doing was stealing and sampling the audio from the actual video. I mean, iPhone cameras are great anyway, for the most part. So the sound wasn't bad, but I then wanted to make it sound like it was, in, just to make sure I could hide the quality, because obviously the quality of the rest of the song was much better. I wanted to hide it a bit, so I kind of added like projector sounds and wherever that is behind it. But where is it? I don't know where it is. Is it there? Yeah, so that's the piano I sampled anyway. That's a section from that video somewhere that he sent me. I took a clip of that and chopped it and put it in the thing. But I'm sure that I put, it's here. Here we go. So I put all these in to make it sound like I was turning on a projector or something. So you'll hear them coming up here. Oh no, I'm thinking of the wrong thing. Did I add a projector in? I got this wrong. I don't think I might not have done it. Oh wait, no, it's here. Here we go. Here's the projector. So that's the projector. So sorry, what you're hearing here, another good story here, full of them tonight. All right, so that's now like a projector sound running in the background. So there's obviously more. That's the be more than I am. That's that section. But here, again, I wanted to fill a gap. And I was like, what do I do in this gap? So I actually ended up adding these. Now, what I ended up doing here, this part was really cool because I'd obviously taken this piano part that Sid had played and sampled it in the song. And then because of that, I was trying to look for things to put in this section as a transition piece. So naturally, I was going through my voice memos and I eventually stumbled upon, it is actually Sid. So this is in the background here. This is Sid. Me and Sid were in a band many, many years ago. We went by the name Sid and Joe, for those who don't know. And Sid, we used to obviously, like most musicians, we record our voice memos on a phone and then eventually they would turn into songs. And I was going through my phone and I found these voice memos. They were obviously in the wrong key. They didn't match the song at all. So I ended up, if there's a way for me to bypass all these, I should know, but I don't. So I'm just going to do it one by one. So this was one of the voice memos here. So that is a voice memo from an original song that, I don't know, an idea that me and Sid would have been writing at some point. Obviously in the wrong key of the song. So I ended up pitching it and doing lots of other stuff to it, as you can see here. And then it sounded like this. And then that acts as our transition piece here.
Best to be more than I am.
And also, I'd never really sung in that high register there. I don't really like my falsetto. So, and Sid's notorious for singing in falsetto. So for me, that was kind of like a me channeling my inner Sid moment, maybe. And then so the middle ends like that. So we obviously have this.
Under distress. At the end of this hour, I'm trying my best.
And then we drop down to this piano part here.
To be more than I
But Where obviously there's a tempo change there. Like, I didn't even do it to, well, Sid didn't do it to the grid because he obviously just did a video of it, so he sent it to me. So we're off the grid here, or at least I think we are anyway. Yeah, we're off the grid for the most part. Are we? Kind of. We're not too much. Anyway, the tempo slows down. I think it doesn't slow down. Interesting. I made it feel like a tempo change anyway. But yeah. So when we get into this post middle pre, I don't know what this is. I obviously wanted to pick the pace back up without jumping straight into the chorus, which is obviously quite fast, and we've obviously gone down to a slow piano moment. So how do you do that? Well, you start building the elements back in again, like so.
'Cause I've been doing headstands.
And again, we got our kung fu vocals there. So elements are starting to come back in. The bongos are here. Then, oh, sorry, that's me not unmuting Sid's piano, or not muting it even. So we're going from here. So this is, yeah, again, the chorus guitars are here. 12 strings back. Our projector's actually still going. And then we cut it. Jump. And then we're back in the chorus. And again, I was, with this final chorus, I was hitting the same problem that I hit earlier, where you can't build. Well, I felt like I couldn't build anymore because I'd already built so much instrumentally. So how can I change this? Well, what I ended up doing was copied the chorus, the second chorus, over to the third, but just changing the vocal delivery. And it was as simple as that, just to add something different, because the chorus is already so repetitive. So for me to keep these choruses interesting was very important, because, you know, by the time you've heard the first loop of the chorus, you've heard every chorus really. So yeah, to keep adding something was imperative, but at the same time kind of not possible because of how much was already going on in the chorus. So it was just about chopping and changing things. And here it was just as simple as I'd gotten to, because we've dropped down to that silence here. So the silence is here. We can get back into that. We can get back into that big moment easily because we've got the silence. But I still wanted something different in the chorus. So the vocal delivery was what I changed here. So you can hear that here on the second half. So here's a new vocal. And then we bring back everything else. And I kind of went against what I said I wasn't going to do here. And I eventually brought back in the electric guitar, but I also brought in the flutes. I think I did something else here and some other synths too, which sound like so. So that is what overlays the final chorus. I really love that synth. I love the breathiness of this. So this is what's cool about tone transfer, is it adds like this breathiness. So listen to this. So it tries to like emulate an actual vocal performance. I think when it cuts out as well, you'll hear it. So you kind of hear like the, which is where they're trying to obviously, you know, emulate it being someone playing an actual flute. Then we got these. What are these? These are, I added my own, I've got my own synth over here. I'm not sure if you can see it in the background. I've got my own synth back there, which has got its own 80s sound. So to kind of go with that 80s sound, I did this. So that overlays the flutes, and you also have this overlaying as well. And that kind of just lifts it to that last place that we end up in. This looks like another synth doing the main line of this part. Yeah, just adding some air. And then we come full circle, just like every other therapy session, we start at the beginning. And there we go. So, yeah, if no one has any questions, if you do, ask me and I will answer them. Otherwise, that is it. Now you can make your own headstands at home. Now you have been given the ingredients to make your own headstands. This is fun, and I really enjoyed doing this. So if you guys enjoy this, let's have a look what we got. Matches the cover of the single. Feels simple. Why headstands? Oh, that is a good question. Okay. Headstands. To be honest with you, when I'm writing, a lot of it's gibberish. So when I have like I mentioned in the beginning, I originally wrote the song to those initial elements, which were the let me find them. 2 seconds. So I originally wrote it to the guitar loop here, and to the mellotrons here, and I think that was it. So I wrote the entire song to this. So I wrote it all to that. So I would have just been talking gibberish over this and to try and figure out the melody. And so I'll usually have a melody but no words. And I remember doing something along the lines of, and I think that it was really just an exercise of finding the word. I can't remember if I had the direction I wanted to go with the song, or if I had the I don't know if I had like the therapy session concept yet or not, but it was either that or the headstands thing. So I either had the headstands and worked backwards or did it the other way around. But headstands itself probably would have come from gibberish. I would have been listening to this loop and just, I would have just been singing melodies over it. And eventually I must have said something that sounded like headstands. And then what I end up doing is reverse engineering that and saying, right, it might have even been something as simple as bed bam. Do you know what I mean? It might have been bed bam bam dun dun dun. And I would have been like, well, what does that sound like? Because I often find that the first thing you stumble on is often the thing that that feels most natural. Here, let me switch to Big Me. There we go. I often find that the first thing you stumble upon is what feels most natural to the song. So when I would have had that phrasing or something that sounded like headstands, I would have, in that moment, and with a lot of songs that I write, I make that it becomes like the mission. The mission is to make sure that I stay true to whatever my subconscious is sending me, because that is what the song wants to be almost. Without getting too I don't know, hippie-ish about it, I suppose. Like, I do believe that songs want to go in their own direction sometimes, and I think that I've found from my own experience that fighting that is often a way of making the entire process much longer. I think the sooner you just give in to what your subconscious is kind of doing, and B, what the song wants to do, that's the quicker you'll finish a song, and the more you'll like a song when you do finish it. So for me, headstands would have probably been some kind of gibberish phrasing that was like bed bam, and then I would have reverse engineered that to, and then gone, oh, what rhymes with bed bam? Oh, headstands is kind of feels right. And I would have gone from there, I suppose. Yeah, I hope that answers the question. That's what I think. That's what I do with a lot of what I'm writing anyway. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Right. Well, if we have no more questions, thank you to everyone who's tuned in. This has been so much fun. And if you want more of these, let me know. If you don't let me know, I might do them anyway, because I enjoy breaking down my songs. I also enjoy making songs, so I would like to try and eventually get to a place where I can use Twitch as an avenue to make more songs. because I'm always writing. I love writing, and I guess that would be interesting because it would, I guess anyone who tunes in, it would sort of give you, you could help me steer the direction. We could write together essentially, which would be cool. You could give me a word, and we could take that word and then, turn it into something else. I'm not sure. But anyway, thank you so much. If you haven't heard Headstands, if you tuned into the session, you probably have now. But yeah, if you haven't heard it on Spotify, go and listen to the full thing. It sounds better put together than it does in pieces like this. But obviously it's interesting to see it like this too. But yeah, that's all from me. Thank you very much and take care. Well, wrong screen. I will get better at this. I promise. Thank you. Goodbye.